simplest formula to put on mass. A lot of people have a hard time with this core concept of bodybuilding, which is how to grow muscle. And it's kind of silly. It's pretty cut and dry. So first of all, you want to have impeccable form. Most people think they have good form and don't. They have terrible form. Absolutely atrocious. I've got some training videos on toddleemd.com in the exercise library. Other people to go to for good form are Ben Pakulski is probably the epitome of perfect form. Now, when it comes to, so that's training correctly. When it comes to training with eating enough, calorie surplus, not that complicated. Whatever you need to maintain your body weight, add 10% to that, and that's enough. Any less than an extra 10% isn't enough. If you're probably having more than 25%, is too much. So 15 times your body weight in calories plus 10%, or some people say as much as 20 times your body weight in calories. I've never heard of anything more than that being useful. That's the two things. Now, once you get those out of the way, once your form is impeccable and you're eating enough, volume puts on size. That's the number of sets times reps, right? Everything pretty much grows with about 10 reps. Some things are a lower rep range, like 6 to 10, like hamstrings at the hip. Some things are a wider rep range, like 10 to 15 hamstrings at the knee. But for the most part, everything grows with 10 reps. So the more volume you do, the more sets of 10 you do, assuming they're work sets to failure or right before failure, or maybe even right past failure, depending on your bone structure. You know, people who are endomorphs or mesomorphs can handle sets beyond failure better than ectomorphs, which tend to have flimsier joints and might want to stop before failure. Again, this is with perfect form. So if your form starts slipping on rep 10, but you could still get 4 or 5 shitty reps, that doesn't mean do 15 reps. It means you do 10 reps and stop. Once your form goes to shit, you're done. So what you do is, if you're getting, let's say, 20 sets total for shoulders and 10 reps each, you're doing 200 total work, 20 work sets for shoulders, then what you can do is increase the weight and decrease the volume. So I know that you want to get bigger, but the key is to stop trying to get bigger and work on getting stronger for about a month. So you might decrease your total volume, your sets, to 10 sets, and you use a weight that you can only do 8 times. And you work on that weight for 8 reps, and then next week try to get 9 reps, and the next week try to get 10 reps. And by 2 or 3 weeks, you should be able to get that weight you could do 8 times, 10 times. And then what you simply do is you start adding a set or 2 a week until you're back up to your 20 sets for shoulders. These are just arbitrary numbers to give you an idea of proportion. So the point is if you cut your volume in half and increase the weight a little bit and drop your reps, work that weight up, work those reps up to where you were before, then you're actually stronger. So when you go to do more volume, you're doing more sets times reps times the weight. So this is a really terrible example because nothing's as simple. But let's say we're talking about shoulders and you can do a 200-pound overhead press 10 times, right? And you do 20 sets of it. So you do 200 times 20 times 10. So what is that, 4,000? Or 40,000? It's 200 times 20 times 10. So it's 40, so it's 40,000. So you can do 40,000 pounds per shoulder workout. Now let's say you change it to 10 sets of 225 for 8. All right, what's 225 for 8? It comes out to be about 2,000 again, right? Or is it to be 1,600 plus, no, it's 200, it'd be 1,600, and then 25 times 8 is about 200, right? Yeah, so it's 1,800. So it's a little bit less weight times reps, and then it's also 10. So you went from 40,000 volume of 40,000 pounds per workout on shoulders to 18,000. So you went lower. You went down to 45% of total volume, but you're using 225, not 200. So you're going to get stronger at that. So eventually, once you work that 225 up to 10 reps, now you're getting 2,250 times 10 is 2,250. So you work your total volume from 18,000 to 22,500. Then you start adding in volume. And before you know it, you're going to be at like 45,000 pounds. So you went from doing 40,000 pounds per shoulder workout to 45,000 pounds per shoulder workout after the span of maybe 8, 9, 10 months, right? So now, since you're doing the same amount of volume with more weight, the muscles would have to be bigger. Unless your form slipping or the amplitude decreases or the tempo changes. There's all these ways your body will cheat to get those reps. But assuming you keep it as the same tempo, an infinitely fast concentric phase, a 1 second squeeze, a 3 second negative, a 1 second stretch phase, and the amplitude of the workout is the same. The range of the motion, the amount of inches the bar travels, is the exact same. If all other variables are the exact same, but all you did was increase the weight by a little, like 6%, that means your muscles will get bigger. Then once you're at that 20 sets, you do it again, and you go to 250 for 8, and work that up to 10. And then eventually you're doing 50,000 pounds per workout. And you just keep doing that. You never have to increase the food unless you stop gaining weight, but you should always be about, you really putting a quarter pound on your shoulders is going to look enormous. Like you put a half a pound on your arms, they're going to go up like 2 or 3 inches. Go to the grocery store, buy a pound of ground beef, and then pack that ground beef around your arm and measure it. Measure it first, then pack a pound of ground beef around your arm and measure it. You'll see that even though it's only a pound, your arm is fucking like 3 inches bigger. So it would take like 6 years to put a pound of muscle on your arms. So your metabolism really doesn't change much as you get stronger or as you gain weight. You might need to eat more because of the workload went from 18,000 to 50,000. So obviously on leg day, it's going to go from 180,000 up to like 500,000. That's a lot of fucking calories. But when it comes to calculating based on body weight, not off of the actual energy expended, it doesn't change much. So the point of the matter is, if you really want to put on size, just pay attention to what you're doing and progressive resistance. You should never be lifting the same amount of pounds for the same amount of reps and the same amount of sets and the same amount of exercises for more than a couple weeks. Either swap out, if you plateau, you need to swap out the exercises for other exercises or decrease the volume and increase the load. Anyway, that's the simplest approach towards gaining muscle.